Hello and welcome to this episode of Ways to Change Your Workplace with myself, Prina Shah. And I'm really pleased to be introducing my friend to you today, Ren Saguil, who is from Auckland, all the way in Auckland. And Ren and I have been communicating on LinkedIn. We're in a networking group together as well. And I love what Ren stands for. So Ren, first off, welcome. It's really good to have you on my podcast today.
Oh, thank you so much, Prina. I'm so excited.
my,
I know, right? So I've met
my
you since we
pleasure.
were the Rex group.
Yep.
Like, really cool to have this opportunity. Thank you.
My absolute pleasure. Ren, I have a little bit of an introduction to you, so if I may. Ren is a very talented person. Ren has over 25 years of experience in business development, sales, and leadership. She managed corporate and large complex accounts across telco and the IT industry. Check this out, ranging from 50,000 to 40 million euro contracts. She's worked for Globe Telecom, Alcatel-Lucent, Ruckus Wireless, and Vodafone. She's been an account director and country manager. She's done all sorts. Ren's expertise is in building trusting relationships, navigating complex deals, and influencing and inspiring teams and clients. Ren is a lifelong learner, which is what I love about her. She's always learning something or the other. She's really interested in sales strategies and leadership and her own professional development. Today, Ren is her own boss and serves dynamic tech companies and individuals who want to accelerate their growth in B2B enterprise deals. Ren's details are going to be in the show notes, but specifically what I want to talk to Ren about today, I'm calling this Ren, Learn from a Sales Expert how to sell ideas at work, Ren. Because one of the problems I had when I was working in corporate land is I would have the best ideas, but then I just didn't know how to sell that stuff. And a lot of my clients also say this, Ren. So I thought, why not speak to the world's best, which is you? So welcome, Ren. First off, why do you do what you do?
Oh my gosh. I don't know where to start, Prina. That's just an amazing introduction. It's all real though, but the way you say it, it's just like, woo, that was awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, so why do I do what I do? I just love it. I love working with people. And I think, unfortunately, sales is a very negative connotation because, at the end of the day, people think like you're selling me something that you're doing something to me that I don't want,
Yep.
or you're selling something to me that I don't have control of. And that's it's wrong. And I am an advocate for ethics, in sales.
Cool.
So yeah, so why I love it, I meet a lot of people. I different behavioral styles, different kinds, from CEOs to tech engineers, creative people, you name it, right? You just meet different people every day, and I think that I'm an extrovert, and I just love people. I just love meeting different kinds of people. So, and also, I guess in sales, there's a challenge of, you're right, you're selling an idea, a product, a service to someone, and how do you get them on board with you? That's
That's
the challenge, right?
the biggest challenge. I love the fact that you said that sales has a negative connotation. And I think, Ren, a lot of people latch onto that. So I can't toot my own horn. I can't sell this. I can't sell that. So they even think about this in a work perspective in relation to projects or ideas that people may have at work, which is really difficult. So can I ask you another question? How do you define selling in the context of an internal knowledge worker? And what skills are required to be successful in this role from your perspective?
So to be successful in sales,
Yeah.
really it's emotional human behavior. And to tell you honestly, Prina, I think I was a better salesperson when I got my coaching certification
Yeah.
because I just was blown away. I'm just like, oh my God, I'm such a better person after I got my coaching, because obviously, as a young salesperson, I had a lot of sales training, right? I think that was the biggest gift that I had. So I've been in sales for 25 years, and as you can imagine, I started with the telco industry when it started. So that's why it's $1 million, because we were building the first broadband, the first mobile network, the first 2G. This was the massive really. But actually, my career started before that. The first product that I was selling are satellite links to connect the banks. Before, when you go to the bank, there's no online. Like, you have to get a check and they
Yes.
have to clear it a week or so, because they have to clear and all. But now it's just seconds, you get your money, right?
Yep.
So that was my heyday, connecting all of this satellite links. So online banking started, IPv, IP networks.
Wow.
And when I realized, going back to your question, how do you actually sell ideas? So I think there's two types of conversations to take in when you sell. The first one is, there's an innate need. That there's a need.
Yeah.
It's so obvious that they need your product, but are you the right product for them? They have a need. So
Yeah.
the way you sell is, you understand what the challenges are, the pain points. So you got to dig deeper how to be the solution to their needs, right?
Yeah.
But it's challenging when they don't think they need you,
Yeah.
right? That's the challenging part, especially if you're selling a new innovation and you're going to push them to a different kind of thinking.
Exactly. And this is
So
what I often hear, Ren, from my clients is that the organization wants this, however, the executive are not on board. So that's the challenge and the tension and conflict that arises.
yeah. So when the need is not defined, then
Uh,
you got to think higher purpose, like more visionary. What does
yes.
it give them?
Right.
Right? Where will you take them?
Yeah.
What's possible? What's the remarkable thing? I was just watching a movie over the weekend. Have you watched Air, the
No.
Michael Jordan story? So it's Nike, and
Yep.
at the time Michael Jordan was 18 years old. I think I watched it in Amazon Prime, not on Netflix.
Okay.
And at that time, Michael Jordan was 18 years old, Division One, basketball player. Everyone's running after him to go into the pro leagues, right?
Yeah.
And Nike was like 17% of the market, and Adidas was like the shoes, right? And
Yeah.
Michael Jordan, and there was Converse as well. I think second player.
Yeah.
And Michael Jordan didn't even want to talk to Nike. He just wanted to go to Adidas, right? And there's this guy played by Matt Damon. He was a marketing guy, and he just wants Michael Jordan. So, oh my God, it sent me goosebumps, right? When they met, finally, well, tenacity, persistence. He did things that he's not supposed to do, went to the parents, bypassed the agent, all of those things that really crafty, hardcore salespeople do. Like, never
Yeah.
say die. And do things and then apologize later sometimes.
Yep. Learn the
But
rules
he
so you
made,
can break them.
yeah, yeah, yes, exactly. But then when he finally had a chance to meet Michael Jordan, because the mom actually supported him, the Nike marketing guy, he sold a vision to Michael Jordan.
Uh-huh. Okay, so we're now talking about visionary storytelling as well. So we need
Mm.
to have our ideas together in our head and so succinct that if I'm going to the executive to, present to the board or to the executive to sell my idea, I need to have that full vision in terms of a story. I love that you said outline the challenges, the pain points, and the solutions. Ren, you also talked earlier about the fact that something really changed for you when you did your coaching certificate. Can I ask what that was that really changed?
Understanding people better,
Yeah.
because I can read people. Like, I would know, I learned these styles even though when I was in sales. I kind of know that.
Yeah.
But when I did coaching, I said I understood people better because I'm more patient in taking them to a journey. And
Uh,
that's what coaching is all about, right? Coaching,
yeah.
I just had an interview with an ICF guy last week, and he reminded me, what's the difference between sales coaching and sales training? Sales training is, you tell you tell the salespeople what to do, the skill set, how to negotiate. But sales coaching is going into a journey with them. And then I think if you apply it in sales, like don't tell your idea to your client. Don't accept what your client also says, but mutually collaborate and
Yes.
brainstorm together, and really trusting each other to challenge each other to come up with the best solution, whether it's your product or not,
This is
unfortunately.
This is quite the important point. So now we're talking about co-design. So we're entering this conversation, we're opening the door to more ideas beyond ours, and then we're even expanding even more to something wonderful that might turn out. The other thing also, so visionary storytelling is quite the skill. And I've had a couple of podcast guests in the past, Ren, David Pullen and Jamie Dixon. You need to check out those
Oh
episodes,
wow, I'll check them.
audience. Yeah. So I'll add them to the show notes as well. That's really important. So we might have this idea, but we can't be stuck to it, because if we're open to it, when we have that conversation, it might flourish into something even bigger and better.
Absolutely. And our clients really know their ecosystem better than us,
Yeah.
but we know the innovation. So when you put it together, it's just going to be amazing. Like I've had sales deals that it was already won by a vendor. I was able to win it. And I mean, I'm really proud of that, because it's things like pitching not just your idea, but what's what I said, it's working together and say, hey, well, how can I make it different? They're
Yeah.
only selling you a product. I want to sell you something else, like a vision. And then you get into that conversation, and then they say something, and then you got this idea. I'm like, oh my God, okay, we're gonna do this. So one of the big projects that I had here in NZ is the Wi-Fi, the Spark Telecom
Yeah.
have this Wi-Fi booths like Telstra.
Mm-hmm.
Before the Telstra Wi-Fi, Spark did that 3 years ahead. And that was my major project with them. And I know my competitor already signed up with them, but I came in. Well, to be honest, my product was amazing because it's just like Wi-Fi that you can reach for 3 kilometers.
Nice.
But also beyond the product, we started talking about what does it mean for them. And we started talking about, because we were very early at that time when I was with Ruckus, building community Wi-Fis, and we kind of sold the idea to them, like be a community Wi-Fi, bridge communities, reaching to public spaces and stuff like that. So it kind of resonate with them, right? So it's more than the product itself, but
It's understanding them, that end user or the customer itself. Brilliant. And I really see how your coaching qualification really helps with this, because I mean, I'm a qualified coach as well. And with coaching, we don't ever give answers. We ask the right questions and lead people to wherever. So it's leading people on a journey as well by asking the right questions and keeping our mind open to whatever that might result in.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I need to do better in that space,
We all do. We're all learning,
honestly.
yeah.
But I think really asking great questions, simple questions like, what does success looks like?
Yes.
Simple questions like, what else do you think? It's
Yeah.
enough to trigger, right? But it's a skill, as I said, like, and you only learn it when you study,
Practice. Yeah.
practice, role. Oh, that's one thing as well. Role playing,
Yeah.
right? I would really encourage, when you're trying to pitch an idea in your company,
Yeah.
pitch it to your husband, pitch it to your friend, pitch it to your kid.
Yeah.
Practice, and then you'll get more comfortable. They're gonna ask questions. Then you're gonna, oh, I have to think about that and make it more fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Ren, selling is about relationships. What are some effective strategies for identifying and cultivating relationships with key stakeholders within organizations ethically?
Okay, so I guess as the start is, are you talking about internal or external? Like your
Internal.
internal within the clients. And when you say ethically, you mean
Without manipulation and, like to
uh
be genuine. Yeah. To
okay.
build those
So
relationships.
Yeah, so I guess when you're a salesperson, you're a junior salesperson, you're not that highly connected with your C levels, right? And understandably, you get like, oh, that's our CEO, especially
Mm,
if you're in a 10,000 company.
yes.
But believe me, I just had this conversation with the CEO of Ruckus Wireless. Like, he's the CEO now, Bart Giordano. And that's one of the questions. Like, how do we connect with CEOs? Well, they're only human beings, right?
Yes.
At the same time. So I think it's hard to think about that, but we should. And the next one is really connect with them at a personal level. What I mean is, you can ask personal questions without being nosy, right? Like, let's just say you're in a sales conference and you saw them rock up, and one day I saw one our CEO in a running gear from the lift, right?
Yeah.
Of course, at the time I was very young, doesn't know me. And I said, hey, sir, I'm one of your salespeople in the Philippines. At the time I was in the Philippines. We had a conference in Shanghai. And he goes like, oh, wow, great to meet you. Did you just arrive? Really nice person. Yeah. And then I said, oh, wow, you're a runner. And then he started talking about running. And it's
Cool.
interesting. During the dinner,
Mm.
I saw him again, and he says like, "Oh, hey, I'm dressed now. You won't see me now in run," and he
Remember.
remembers me, right? So for
Simple.
me, it was like, "Oh my God, he actually remembered me." I don't. So they're only humans, right? So I guess first of all,
Yeah.
the courage to start talking to them,
Yep.
and if you're in the out of the office environment, talk about something that you know, do a bit of research. If you know they run marathons, talk about marathons. If they have some passion for a not-for-profit, talk about it. But you gotta do it first.
Yes. You lead it. Okay.
Yeah, you gotta lead it first.
I love what you've said. I was taking lots of notes. So they're only human like you and me. So Ren, I really talk about the issue with hierarchy in workplaces. It scares the shit out of people and it need
Yeah.
not, so we need to drop that hierarchy from our own mindsets, especially when we're trying to sell ideas at work. Be perceptive. So, hey, I've just seen that person in their running gear. Make a comment, connect genuinely with that person. And it's about looking for the right opportunities to connect. So, if they're going to whatever networking event, you could go there as well, grab a seat on the same table, do your research, have the same kind of
Mm,
intel, do your homework. LinkedIn, so many people have their profiles on LinkedIn.
exactly.
Like, come
You're
on, there's
so right.
so much information out there, right?
Oh, totally. Like, you see them running a fundraising, make a comment. What I wanted to add, Prina, as well, is like
Please.
really being intentional and not just courtesy, like, hey, how are you? You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like, not just
Very
going to
good.
the routine. And I'll give you an example. But this is a client though. It's a CEO as well.
Cool.
I visited one CEO one time, and it was already late afternoon on a Friday,
Okay.
and he was going out, and he was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, do we have a meeting?" He said. I was like, "Yeah." "Oh, I'm sorry, I have to leave early because I have a camping with my son," he said. I was like, "Oh yeah, okay, don't worry about it. Let's set up another one." So then when we met, I asked him, "So how was your camping?" And it was like after 2 months, and he looked at me and he's like, "You know what? You're the only one who asked me how's my camping." Like, I saw so many vendors that day, that Friday. No one listened. No, I mean, no one made a comment about how was the camping. And he said, it really means a lot to me because apparently he's separated with his wife and he's always wanting to spend the time with his kids.
Wow. Which
So
is the
for
same
him,
thing.
yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying. But
Oh,
actually, I didn't, I
you have
didn't
no
know.
idea.
But I just remember that, hey, the last time we saw each other, you were rushing off to a camp. How was the camping?
This is the
So
perfect example of listening with the right intent and not being manipulative. You were genuinely interested as
yeah, I
well.
was interested because he was like, "Oh my God, I'm so excited!" Because I can see,
You
like,
picked it
I'm
up.
so excited. I'm sorry, I have to go. Da, 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 we have a meeting. Da, da, da. I was like, "Oh, calm down, okay, fine."
Amazing.
So Yeah. And when people does that to me as well, right? Like if I mention something to someone and then after we meet, so how was that thing that you mentioned? Oh my God, you actually remembered.
Yeah. Those clues are out there for us, aren't they, Ren?
Mm,
We just need to be
mm.
aware and pick up on them and remember them as well. So you've got a very good memory as well, clearly. Can I ask you another question? So what are some common mistakes that internal knowledge workers make when trying to sell their ideas or projects? And how can they be avoided? Some common internal mistakes that people make.
Research first, like you need to research,
Yeah.
right? Like who are your, if you're gonna sell an idea, who are you selling this idea to?
Yeah.
Who are they? Are they gonna be aligned with your idea? So you need to kind of research. And if, and the second one is practice, not practicing the pitch or not practicing the idea, right?
Yep.
Like you don't even have to practice it, Prina, with someone. Just record yourself. I
Yes.
find it really, because you get confidence, you practice, and you see yourself like, oh my God, I don't like that. I'll do it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that doesn't sound right. I'll do it this time. And then you're like, oh, okay, that looks better. So practicing a lot. I mean, it's a 5 second what's the word? The 5 second stardom. What? There's a word I can't
Yeah.
remember. It's your 5 minute, 5 second pitch or something. There's a
Oh,
word
yeah.
about that.
And people, that's the thing. So psychology states that people make up their mind unknowingly within just a few seconds, right? So that first few
Yeah.
seconds, I think that's what you're talking to. Those first few
The
seconds are
first,
so crucial, aren't they?
yeah, exactly. And how you present them, right? So having that research and how they align. And because in that research, you will know what's in it for them with
Yeah.
your thoughts and ideas. How can, because if you already know that you're gonna pitch something that you knew they wouldn't like,
Yep. Don't do it.
you need to find, not don't do it. You need to find a way to kind of
Make
um
it.
make it agreeable to them, like meeting each other halfway, or first asking questions, right?
Yes.
Like asking questions like, if what do you think of this, like testing. I think it's
Okay.
separate from research, right? I'm just forgetting stuff. So
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
research, you also test ideas, right? What do you
Yes.
think
Yeah.
of this
That's
idea, like little thing, not just a big testing
100%.
it.
You reminded me of the concept, and I've got a podcast episode on this or an article, I can't remember. It's the Japanese concept of nemawashi, and that is
Mm,
checking in with all of your stakeholders before you actually do the pitch. Like, hey, one-to-one meetings, like, are we on the right track? Are we aligned? Have I missed anything?
absolutely.
It's asking all of those important coaching questions to pull out the information before you go to the exec, let's say, and before you even do your pitch. So it's doing your research
Exactly.
in a detailed manner, but you're already gaining buy-in that way, subtly before that.
Absolutely.
And that
Yeah,
then
so
it talks to those
sorry.
relationships, doesn't it? The power of the relationships that you're building also.
Exactly. So that's interesting because I often do that externally more
Uh-huh.
than internally, but I've done that internally as well. Because and I think I want to cover that as well. So externally, when you're going to present a proposal, as I
Mhm.
said before, no, never email it. You have
No.
to talk,
Yes.
right? Never email, because the proposals don't sell. It's you. Its
Mm-hmm.
proposal is just a paper. Sending a
Yeah.
proposal is just the last thing.
That's the
Like
fine. Yeah.
it's already agreed, right? But
Yeah.
before you do that, if you're having to present it to like 5 stakeholders,
Yeah.
try to find 2 or 3 that you would have a side meeting to, and say, hey, on the meeting on Thursday, this is what I'm trying to cover. What do you think? Because you
Yeah.
don't want everyone to be shocked, right?
Exactly.
And you will find that sometimes, hey, that's so far from what we discussed. Oh, really? What do you think? So this. Then you have time to kind of trim it down. And then also sending an agenda in advance to that meeting as well.
Yeah.
Like, don't shock them like that you're gonna pitch something.
Yeah.
Just say, I've been doing some research on this part of the business. I have some ideas that I want to pitch. Da 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 da. like warming up people. Ooh,
Yeah.
that sounds good, so you kind of warm them up. Now, internally in an organization, one of the things that salespeople need to do really well is sell an opportunity, because as you can imagine, for for big companies, they cannot always submit proposals to everyone, right? They need to submit proposals to opportunities that will win, can win, and have the right resources.
Yeah.
And so you have to sell that opportunity internally to get buy-in and support from your engineers and CEOs. And it's the same thing. You need to make the pitch, you have to warm them up, you have to ask questions, and also buy in of, hey, this is a really big project. When we win this, it's not just me, it's the company, and you're
Yes.
part of it. You're part of this breathtaking project. Just selling that idea to them that it's just not me, it's you. And I think people inside the organization are not credited enough,
Yeah.
because salespeople are always out there, right? So, oh, Ren won that deal. But honestly, if I didn't had an engineer who did the project for me, if I
Yes.
didn't had a commercial guy who did the pricing for me, I wouldn't have won it, right? I think recognizing them all the time as well, and telling them that, hey, that project, that pricing did, that made us win.
Yeah.
Just little things like that. I think that's one of the things that we often forget, but will bring us to a long, long way.
Yeah. So we've got that internal support as well. Ren,
Mm.
salespeople have a very tough skin. They're resilient and they have grit. They deal with rejection repeatedly and setbacks. What are those skills and how do other people learn them?
Okay, well, you have to be, yeah, you have to be thick skinned in a way that, and you know what? Honestly, it's not easy all the time. I always say, I always coach. They take it personally. Of course, you take it personally.
Yeah, because you can.
Yeah, because you can. But I think it's really loving the work. Like true salespeople actually know that it's a process,
Mhm.
and winning a deal takes you several times to go into that journey. And
Yeah.
then you don't get it right, then you improve, and then you don't get it right and improve, then finally you win it. And unfortunately, you cannot win until you're in the battle,
Oh,
right?
yes. So get into the
And when you're in the battle, sometimes you get hurt, you get wounded. Just don't die, right?
yes.
Because when you die, it means you gave up or something like that. So that's what I always say. I want to share this because she also gives me a lot of inspiration. And sometimes I'm like saying, "Are you my daughter?" So I have a daughter who plays tennis, Division 1 tennis in the US, right? Well, she was a junior here in NZ, and I saw how she cries all the time when she lose a match. And when she got into college, it was like a different, just a different stage, because there's a lot of different styles. You can see the loopers doesn't have a good style, but they end up winning because they're just patient and they loop you. And what she told me was that, mom, I can't stay in NZ and not lose a match,
Mhm.
but I want to be better. So I'm in a more difficult place, and I just have to be in a difficult place all the time to improve. And sometimes what it means is you lose more than you win.
Oh, what a wise person this is.
I
Oh,
know, right? I was like, are you my daughter? So it is, right? It is. And if you come to think of it, you can take it easy, not do the hard stuff, not lose as well, or you level up and take things differently. So, in sales, I think it's just a part of the role that you
amazing.
lose deals.
Yeah, yeah. And
It's just part
all
of
of
it.
those. That's the thing. Yeah. In knowledge workers, same thing. Ren, oh my gosh. Uh, I want to do a bit of a summary before I ask you my final question. So you started off by saying sales has a negative connotation, but it need not be. You talked about how we can address how we want to sell, and we look at the challenges, pain points, and solution, asking the right kind of coaching questions as well. We need to remember that the people we are selling to are human beings as well. Remember that. We need to be perceptive, and we need to look for opportunities to connect. We need to drop that hierarchy. So if we're trying to sell to the CEO internally, don't freak out. That's a normal human being as well.
Yeah.
I love that you said sell an opportunity, because that is just something else. And those storytelling skills are so, so important. And then research, find out who is in alignment, apply the Nemawashi approach. I love that you also said that it's not just me, it's our collective win. Never within a workplace internally is it one person's win.
Yeah.
Although unfortunately, sometimes that's how some people pitch it. That's rubbish. And then there are going to be setbacks. We are going to be hitting a wall sometimes, but your daughter's lesson, keep going.
Keep going.
Keep
Exactly.
going. Amazing. Ren also has a course program called Elite Sales Athletes. Ren, I'll add that to the show notes.
Awesome.
And her newsletter is really interesting as well, full of interesting insights and loads of tips, by the way. Thank you so much. Ren,
Thank you.
before we go, I have one question for you. If I was to give you a magic wand, what is one way that you would change the way of the workplace? And it could be anything you want.
Love each other.
Love each other. Tell me more.
Well, I think when you have love for a person, you're just not going to be biased about what they're saying. Like, you're always going to give space and say, oh, why? Oh, actually, Alisa Cohen did a good post the other day at LinkedIn. She said something like, if you pause and say, why is this emotionally intelligent person, like give them the benefit of the doubt, doing this stupid thing, like if they hurt you or whatever, right? Something like that might be the exact, but it's us thinking of them as like there must be another reason why, and not just saying that, oh my god, she's stupid or she's whatever, she doesn't know what she's doing. So I think if you love, I know it's a bit cheeky, but if you think you love the people around you and you care for them, you always have that space to understand why they're doing what they're doing, and then jumping into conclusions and just asking them questions like, let's say if something happened, right? Like, think about why is she reacting that way? There must be a reason. And then when you have that conversation, instead of telling them that's wrong, why did you do that, da 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 da, just ask, how are you? Like,
simple.
How's things going for you?
Yeah.
And then maybe something, like, oh, maybe something is happening at home and that's why she messed up.
Yeah.
Just I think,
drop the baggage, hey?
Empathy.
Empathy, completely. Empathy and compassion. There's a beautiful quote. I'm going to get poetic. You're talking about love. Let's talk about love. There's a beautiful quote by Khalil Gibran in the book The Prophet, the best book ever for lifelong. And the quote is, love is the natural in-between. So I love that.
That's beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. And sincerely, I'm speaking from the heart. If you have love in your heart and, I guess moving out of corporate and then getting into coaching just changed the way how I look things. And honestly, Prina, if I knew coaching when I was a bit younger, I could have done things differently. I could have been a better person. I could have less enemies.
And that's I love it.
Because when you're young, you're passionate, you run after. I mean, I'm a go-getter, and I knew I've hurt some people, but at that time, I thought they were not doing their job, or they're not good enough or something. But when you're young, you kind of have to experience all of these things. But now, hopefully, I'm older and wiser. I look at it a different perspective. So I guess people should start to learn more about human intelligence and emotional intelligence, especially now in the day of AI, right? I think that's the most powerful tool as human beings that we have.
I'm all about bringing feelings into the workplace, and I had a wonderful podcast episode with Larissa Garcia that our audience need to listen to as well. Ren, we keep on talking offline anyway, so to be continued. I just want to say thank you so much for today. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, it's my pleasure as well. It's so enjoyable. Thank you so much, Prina.